Watch how the third quarter goes down. At least they called this one. A'ja Wilson creams Lexie Hall like she did 5 times in game 1. Peggy Hammond could get 15 calls in a row and one goes another way and she starts screaming and crying. A'ja Wilson doesn't like Lexie Hall. She's always pushing her, but that's an illegal screen, and then Lexie Hall gets called for a foul.
41 fouls, 16 of them in a single quarter. Players were thrown to the ground, whistles silenced when Indiana was hit, and blown nonstop when Vegas needed a boost. This wasn't playoff basketball. It was chaos disguised as intensity. And yet, instead of calling it what it was, the headlines praised A'ja Wilson's stat line. So here's the real story: how the Fever survived a game stacked against them, and why the series may have just flipped in their favor.
It's like a physical game every game. Feels like it's been a physical season. But yes, I think, I feel like I've been on the ground a little bit more this series so far. But we just keep getting back up, so that's all you can really say.
Before the scandal of Game 2, there was the shock of Game 1. Indiana walked into the champs' house and didn't just win, they dominated. A stunning 16-point blowout, powered by Kelsey Mitchell's playoff career-high 34 points. The Fever played with surgical precision, refusing to be rattled by the atmosphere. Every shot felt controlled, every possession deliberate. It was the kind of win that cracks a dynasty's armor. But humiliation breeds desperation, and Vegas was about to show just how desperate they were.
Take that! Hell yeah! Hell yeah! That's one! That's one! That's one! That ain't song and dance to me, man. I'm just grateful, man. I love basketball. I love playing with my team. So let's take a week to get.
A'ja Wilson, the league's MVP and Vegas's trump card, had a nightmare on her home court in Game 1. 6 makes on 22 attempts. 6. Indiana's defense swarmed her, contesting everything at the rim and forcing bad looks. It wasn't just an off night, it was a tactical humiliation, and it fueled the Aces with a dangerous kind of anger heading into Game 2. The question wasn't if they'd respond, but how far they'd go to reclaim control.
In the WNBA, you cannot blindside somebody and set a screen on them without enough time for letting the player being screened react. And then look at this. This one, their arms lock up, but you gotta let go at some point. Like, you can't bring the person closer to you and just stay locked in while the offensive player is trying to get the rebound. But we know A'ja Wilson only received.
From the opening minutes of Game 2, Vegas wasn't interested in clean basketball. Screens turned into body checks. Cuts through the lane became collisions. Forearms replaced footwork. The officials? They never established control. What should have been a showcase of 2 great teams devolved into a shove fest. And soon, the foul count told the real story.
Seth, why don't you think you were able to find any flow? And when that was the case, what are you trying to do to jumpstart things, maybe on the defense?
Well, it's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul call every 10 seconds. I mean, it just really is. And when they're at the free throw line, we can't get up and down the floor. And that's a challenge. They were much more aggressive and physical defensively. We didn't counter that with our off-ball actions or with our back cuts. So they took us out of our comfort zone. I mean, offense is about rhythm, it's about timing, it's about spacing. We allowed them to do that, and they kept us from doing it.
16 fouls in a single quarter, 41 for the game. That's a whistle every 10 seconds, chopping Indiana's rhythm into pieces. The Fever thrive in flow, in pace, in ball movement. Instead, they were forced into a stop-and-start grind that played right into Vegas's hands. Every spark of momentum Indiana found was erased by another whistle, another stoppage, another free throw for the Aces. But in the middle of that chaos, one player turned pain into defiance.
Yeah, Lexie, obviously you were a late add to the injury report today. Just how are you feeling this morning with your back, and what do you have to do to be able to play?
I mean, I'm feeling sore still, but I think just a lot of treatment, trying to get, our bodies as ready as we can be. Part of playoffs, I think, for everyone is it's the end of the season. Everyone's a little fatigued, everyone's a little sore. So just trying to go out there and do the best I can. A lot of treatment with our trainers. I'm really thankful for them to spend a lot of time with me today, a lot of time with me yesterday, getting me ready for tonight.
Lexie Hull had no business being on the court. After injuring her back in Game 1, she was a game-time decision, barely cleared to play. Most players would have sat. Hull taped herself up and stepped into the fire. Vegas immediately targeted her, shoving her off screens, knocking her to the floor, testing her resolve. But Hull didn't just survive, she answered. Despite the pain, despite the constant hits, Hull drilled 5 three-pointers, tying a Fever playoff record. Every shot was a message. Indiana refuses to fold. Afterward, she admitted she was sore, saying simply, "We're just pushing through." That's not a highlight quote. That's the heart of Indiana's identity. Yet while Hull's courage should have been the story, the media chose a different headline. A'ja Wilson's numbers, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, were plastered everywhere. Dominant, the coverage called it. But how did she get those numbers? By bullying her way into the paint, by benefiting from whistles Indiana never received. Dominant isn't the same as fair when half your opponents are limping. Fans online called it out. Social media buzzed with outrage, but the mainstream narrative ignored the imbalance. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston was living a different battle. 10 points, 13 rebounds. On paper, steady. In reality, brutal. Every rebound came with a shove. Every post-up ended with a hit to the ribs. Boston wasn't given an inch, and instead of crying foul, she fought. At just 23, she carried herself like a veteran, surviving possession after possession in the paint. Her box score doesn't show it, but her bruises do. And when Boston needed relief, a veteran guard stepped up with fire of her own. Odyssey Sims scored 18 points in pure chaos, dribbling through double teams, finishing through contact, turning broken possessions into buckets. Every time Vegas threatened to pull away, Sims clawed Indiana back. Her effort didn't change the final score, but it stopped the Fever from being drowned entirely. But if Sims gave them hope, the Aces had already set their sights on silencing Indiana's biggest weapon. Kelsey Mitchell went from unstoppable to invisible, from 34 points in Game 1 to just 13 in Game 2. Not because she forgot how to score, but because Vegas erased her, face guarding her even without the ball, double teaming every touch, aggressive hedges on every screen. She became a pinball, battered before she could even set her feet. It was a tactical masterstroke, but one impossible to separate from the game's overall brutality. And the hypocrisy didn't end on the floor. Even Becky Hammon, who just benefited from the chaos, complained about how physical the game had been. Imagine that. The team rewarded all night by whistles now calling the matchup too rough. That detail says it all. The result wasn't just tactics. It was shaped almost entirely by chaotic officiating. And now the dynamic flips. Because the next game won't be in Vegas. The series now moves to Indianapolis. Gainbridge Fieldhouse. 17,000 fans ready to roar. Vegas won't just face Mitchell, Boston, and Hull. They'll face a wall of noise. Every whistle amplified, every bump called out by the crowd. Home court doesn't just mean comfort, it means accountability. And that's where the Fever's scars become something new. This season, Gainbridge has already proven itself a fortress. Visiting teams crumble under the noise, under the relentless energy of Indiana's fans. What got ignored in Vegas won't be ignored in Indy. Contact on Boston's post-ups, shoves against Hull, hacks on Mitchell. The roar of the crowd will force officials to pay attention. And those scars from Vegas? They're about to become firepower. Lexie Hull's aching back, Boston's bruised ribs, Mitchell's frustration, Sims's scratches. These aren't setbacks, they're fuel. Indiana survived the chaos of Vegas and didn't break. Now they bring those battle scars home, turning pain into power. That's what makes this series dangerous for Vegas. They couldn't break the Fever when everything tilted their way. And now, the war only escalates. Vegas may have tied the series, but they didn't prove they're the better team. They proved they need whistles, chaos, and bruises just to survive. Indiana? They just need a fair fight. And in Indianapolis, with the fans on their side, they might finally get it. The question now is simple. Will the champs survive the fire they themselves started? One thing's for certain. This battle is far from over. It's only just beginning.